Arthur Raymond Chung was born on January 10, 1918, in the small village of Windsor Forest, located on the west coast of Demerara, British Guyana, now Guyana. Windsor Forest was a typical rural settlement, lush with rice fields, coconut trees, and canals that mirrored the tropical sky. It was a quiet, multicultural community populated by Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese, and Chinese immigrants, many of whom worked on the sugar estates or as small farmers and traders. Arthur Chung's family was of Chinese descent, making him part of a minority group within the colony's diverse population. His parents, hard-working and community-minded, raised their children with strong values of discipline, respect, and education. They believed that success was earned through diligence and honesty, principles that guided young Arthur throughout his life. As a child, Arthur was described as curious and studious. He attended local schools in Windsor Forest and quickly stood out for his intelligence and humility. Education during the colonial era was not easily accessible for all, but Arthur Chung's academic potential was evident early on. His teachers and family encouraged him to pursue further education beyond his village. This determination took him to Georgetown, the capital, where he completed secondary studies at a reputable institution that prepared him for a professional path few from rural backgrounds could imagine at the time. After completing his secondary education, Chung pursued studies in law, an ambitious choice in the 1930s and 1940s for a person of his modest means. In the British colonial system, aspiring lawyers often trained through apprenticeships and external examinations from London. Chung enrolled in the prestigious Middle Temple in London, one of the 4 inns of court that trained barristers in the United Kingdom. His time in London exposed him to a broader world. He witnessed debates on empire, colonialism, and the growing movements for self-determination across Asia and Africa. Living in Britain also gave him first-hand experience with the global network of colonial subjects seeking education abroad, future leaders who would soon challenge imperial rule. Chung was called to the bar in London after successfully completing his legal qualifications. When he returned to British Guyana, he was among a small group of locally born barristers, a notable achievement that commanded respect in both legal and social circles. His early legal practice reflected his meticulous mind and sense of fairness. He was known for being calm, articulate, and unwilling to compromise integrity for popularity, judicial career, and reputation. Arthur Chung's professionalism soon drew the attention of senior members of the colonial legal establishment. He served in various capacities, including as a magistrate and later as a puisne judge, a junior judge of the Supreme Court. In each post, he earned a reputation for impartiality and sound judgment. His demeanor on the bench was firm, yet courteous. He listened intently, analyzed carefully, and delivered decisions with clarity. Lawyers who appeared before him often remarked that his courtroom was a place of calm authority. No shouting, no bias, and no unnecessary theatrics. Chung's rise through the judicial ranks coincided with an increasingly turbulent period in Guyana's political development. The 1950s and 1960s were years of dramatic transformation. Political parties emerged, labor movements gained power, and tensions between the People's Progressive Party, PPP, and the People's National Congress, PNC, grew fierce. Amid this, Arthur Chung remained strictly apolitical, focusing solely on upholding the law. By the late 1960s, he had become one of the country's most respected judges. His integrity made him an appealing figure to both colonial administrators and local leaders who viewed him as a man of balance, in a deeply polarized society. Guyana becomes a republic. Guyana achieved independence from Britain on May 26, 1966, under Prime Minister Forbes Burnham. However, the country remained a constitutional monarchy with Queen Elizabeth II as the head of state, represented locally by a Governor-General. Burnham, seeking to assert full sovereignty and national pride, moved to transform Guyana into a republic. This transition was realized on February 23, 1970, Republic Day, when the nation officially became the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The shift required the appointment of a president to replace the Governor-General. The position was to be largely ceremonial at first, embodying national unity rather than wielding executive power. For this role, Burnham's government needed someone universally respected, non-partisan, and symbolically representative of Guyana's multicultural heritage. Arthur Raymond Chung was a natural choice. He was ethnically Chinese, a minority group that had largely stayed out of the intense Afro-Indo political rivalry. He was also admired for his independence, humility, and professional integrity. His appointment signaled that the presidency was not merely a political prize, but a moral and national institution. Presidency, 1970 to 1980. Arthur Chung was sworn in as Guyana's first president on March 17, 1970. His ascension marked a historic moment, not only for Guyana, but for the wider Caribbean. He became the first person of Chinese ancestry to hold the office of head of state in a non-Asian nation, a fact that earned him international attention. Although his role was largely ceremonial, President Chung carried out his duties with great dignity and precision. He represented the nation at official events, received foreign diplomats, signed legislation into law, and embodied the ideals of the new republic. In public, he was soft-spoken and formal, but those who met him privately described him as warm, wise, and deeply principled. Throughout his presidency, he maintained a cordial working relationship with Prime Minister Forbes Burnham. Guyana was undergoing major political and economic changes at the time. Nationalization of key industries, alignment with socialist countries, and the promotion of cooperative socialism as Burnham's ideological framework. Chung remained above partisan politics. His speeches emphasized unity, discipline, and national identity. He encouraged Guyanese citizens to work together across ethnic and class divides and to embrace the cooperative ideals envisioned for the Republic. He also represented Guyana abroad, attending Commonwealth and international events. His presence projected a positive image of the country, a small but proud nation, navigating its post-colonial path. In official portraits and addresses, Chung's calm demeanor contrasted with the fiery political environment of the era. After a decade in office, he stepped down in 1980, when constitutional changes transformed the presidency into an executive position held by the Prime Minister. Forbes Burnham succeeded him as executive president, and Arthur Chung quietly returned to private life, personal life, and wife. Behind the public figure was a devoted family man. Arthur Chung was married to Doreen Pamela Chung, a woman who complemented his quiet strength with her own grace and dedication. She was elegant, community-oriented, and widely respected for her humility and charitable work. During his presidency, Pamela Chung served as the First Lady of Guyana, often seen supporting educational, cultural, and social initiatives. She attended official ceremonies, visited schools and hospitals, and represented the softer side of the Republic's image. Her gentle nature and genuine warmth endeared her to people across social classes. After completing his term in 1980, Arthur Chung retired quietly from public life. He did not seek political office or engage in public controversies. Instead, he returned to private legal and civic affairs, occasionally offering advice to younger lawyers and public servants. Arthur Chung lived through significant national changes after his presidency, the continued leadership of Burnham until his death in 1985, followed by the Desmond Hoyt years, and later Guyana's gradual shift toward economic liberalization and multi-party democracy. He rarely commented on politics, preferring to observe silently, embodying the dignity of a true statesman. He passed away on June 23, 2008, at the age of 90. His death was marked by national mourning, with tributes pouring in from across the political spectrum. Leaders and citizens alike celebrated him as a unifying figure and a moral pillar of Guyanese history. Even after her husband's death, Doreen Pamela Chung remained an admired figure. She was seen as a pillar of grace and composure who had shared in Guyana's transformation from colony to republic. Her later years were spent supporting quiet, charitable causes and preserving the memory of her husband's service. Pamela passed away in 2021 at the age of 89, having lived a full life dedicated to community, faith, and family. The couple's passing marked the end of an era, but their legacy remains a reminder of integrity, simplicity, and public service. In 2015, Guyana honored his memory by renaming the country's Arthur Chung Conference Center, located at Liliandale, east coast Demerara. Originally built with Chinese assistance, the center stands as a modern symbol of friendship between Guyana and China, a fitting tribute to the man who bridged cultures and embodied the nation's diverse heritage. Please subscribe for more.